Now, as usual, we'll start by speaking with Senior Wealth Advisor Darren Farwell of the Farwell Group. It's his objective to empower women, especially widows, navigate their finances for the future. So good morning, Darren.
Good morning, Marilyn.
Do you have a happy story for me today?
Well, I do have a happy story. It's a story of unlocking confidence, and I'm going to talk about it sounds obvious from the name, but just how powerful this idea of unlocking confidence can be, particularly for widows, because as from women's perspective, listeners will know, me and my team, the Farwell Group, part of Scotia Wealth Management. That's our mothership, so to speak. We work downtown in Scotia Plaza at King and Bay. But one of the things that really differentiates us from other teams at Scotia Wealth Management, from other teams in the investment industry as a whole, is our focus on helping widows. My entire team is focused on helping women who have lost their spouse navigate their journey forward using a custom approach we've designed with their unique needs in mind. And in speaking about unique needs, one of the challenges in common amongst that 90% of baby boomers women who will ultimately find themselves solely responsible for making investment decisions all on their own at some point, is that they lack confidence in making investment decisions. It's not that fundamentally women are any better or worse investors than men. In fact, research has shown quite conclusively that's about equal. There are studies that show that as long-term investors, women actually perform slightly better in terms of rate of return in their long-term investing than men. But the difference is very, very small. They're really about equal. Nonetheless, for a whole host of reasons, women lack confidence. Generally speaking, women lack confidence in their ability as investors. Now, a few weeks ago, I was telling a story about Stephanie and Charles. For their 36 years of marriage before Charles passed away, Stephanie did all the bookkeeping. She did all the day-to-day record-keeping, bookkeeping, paying the bills. Meanwhile, her husband, Charles, did all of the investing. Now, Charles passed away, and Stephanie is still quite young, 71 years old. Unfortunately, now she has to make the investment decisions herself, even though she never did. And the risks of not getting involved in making informed decisions for her are high. Because, for example, she could simply run out of money before she runs out of life. She could pay too much tax over the course of her lifetime. If her money isn't doing the right things for her, if her savings aren't working for her properly, she could leave less of a legacy to her kids. And I know for a fact she wants to leave as much legacy to her kids as she can. And then a really big concern for Stephanie is that she may find herself later in life with not enough money for the health care and personal care she's afraid that she might need. So in terms of how things unfolded for Stephanie, as it turns out, she did things the right way. In the early months, it was a little more than a year before she got it all wrapped up, she did really a couple of things that were very important, and I highly recommend. She totally de-risked her portfolio. She got out of all investments that she didn't understand and got them into safe, guaranteed investments. She moved from an advisor, her husband's advisor, who she did not connect well with at all. She just decided to move the money away from that advisor because she didn't feel like there was a good relationship. She got her money consolidated all in one place, and she got comfortable with just what she had. Then, however, as time passed, Stephanie could see that her savings weren't growing. They were in very low-risk investments, and her spending was a constant drain of capital on that pool of savings. Furthermore, when she did her taxes, she was paying a lot more tax than she remembered paying when she was married. Intuitively, Stephanie knows she needed a plan to find a better way. So first and foremost, she stepped out of her comfort zone and began to search for a financial professional to help. She'd found a survey in one of the major financial papers. The survey was entitled, How to Find a Financial Advisor. I have a copy of that if anyone would like it, but it was a good step by her. She went and interviewed a couple of advisors herself using that survey, and a widow friend of hers referred her to me and Leslie. When it came time for her to decide on which advisors to go with, the factors that mattered most to her were those who listened and were empathetic, who spoke in regular English, kind of the keep it simple factor, a team that was focused on planning first, including estate and tax planning, all in the same place, a team that considered legacy issues like philanthropic giving and making sure that there was an efficient transfer to her beneficiaries. Then, after all of that had been considered, understanding how investments would be used to achieve those objectives. As Stephanie said in her words, because I wrote these down as she said it, I'm looking for someone to be by my side to help guide me through all my financial decisions. So, as it turns out, I can proudly say Stephanie did choose me and my team, in significant part because our experience with widows, people just like her, and our total wealth planning process and personal roadmap, which, as I've mentioned earlier, are designed specifically with those issues and challenges for widows in mind. So finding a professional to guide you can be an important part of unlocking confidence. And unlocking confidence can lead to more informed decisions that result in better outcomes for your life. Now Stephanie has a plan forward that she understands and feels comfortable with. And for those listeners out there, if you don't have one of those, maybe it's time.
Well, I believe that everyone should have a financial plan. I think recently said, if you don't have a financial plan, it's a plan to fail. And I think that Stephanie is a good example of someone who's done the ABCs of investing and has taken your guidance and is happy with that. So if someone is sitting there and wishes that they knew how to find a financial advisor and they wanted to get that document first off, how would we get it?
Yes, if any of the listeners would like our one-pager with a series of questions about how to, or what kind of expectations you might have from a financial advisor, it's called, A Guide to Finding the Right Financial Advisor, feel free to give me a call or send an email, and we'd be glad to get it off to you.
So the phone number I know by heart, 416-863-7501. And I'll repeat it slowly, 416-863-7501. And the email?
Probably the best thing is just to connect through our website called the Farwell Group.
So very easy to do, the Farwell Group, and there's a link from my website, marilyns.ca, under the sponsor expert list. So there is a better way. You have to seek it out. Everything about this show and you is about educating people so they can make informed decisions and be confident that they're doing the right thing. So Darren, thank you for sharing that story, and thank you for the advice, and I look forward to learning more next week.
Always nice to be here, Marilyn.